Welcome. I'm going to do that screen sharing again because I want to start at the beginning. Welcome to my studio. I moved in late September from a 600 square foot space at the Hat Factory in Peekskill to a much smaller space. It's 208 square feet, prefab shed in the rear of my property. There's no storage. It's very hard for me to store everything, but all my cements are outside. What you see there is the work for close to 20 years. I can't tell you exactly how many, but there it is. I find that my studio is very important. It reflects, it changes, it adapts my work. I was in a very industrial space in Peekskill at the Park Street, and you'll see that the pieces are spare and lean, and they are cement. I moved there around 2005, 2004. I had relatively no heat, but boy, did I make some good stuff. On the other side, you'll see my first Hat Factory studio. It was divided into a workspace, a small office space, and a studio. Then I moved downstairs in the Hat Factory into a basement. Potters love, love, love to work in the basement. I don't know, we always end up in the basement. Perhaps it's because the light is not critical. We don't really need a lot of daylight. We don't need critical light, we need light. And you see, I work kind of messy. This is my basement area. You'll see it's a daylight basement. And this is where I have my kilns and a lot of my student work. That's what that brightly colored stuff, a lot of shells. I have all this work waiting because I was not able to return it at the end of the year. This is my small kiln. When we pull back, you'll see some of my kiln shelves, my cleaning bucket. Over to my other kiln, which is run by switches. It's not electronic. That post going up was my ventilation, cones, and stilts, more kiln furniture, the bottom thing. Above, more storage, my glazes, more children's work, a small glazing area because I've been glazing inside. With the children, I tend to use commercially available glazes. I used to mix my own, but I no longer do that. No, I don't want, I want to go to the next slide. There we go. So this is my house. You can see the house across the street, and now I'm walking over towards my own studio. You see that I have all this sculpture outside. This is my storage. It was a mad rush to get everything standing up so it would survive the frost and the snow. Those few pieces that are wrapped are pieces that broke in the move. My garbage, that little thing you saw in the back, that's where I'm going to move eventually. So here's the studio. It's in the process of being set up, but I have heat. I have my slab roller. I have windows, so I have a lot of light. I have sort of a cozy corner. You'll see more of that later, and you'll see all this storage because moving to a space that was about a third of what I had was a real exercise and challenge for storage. Doors, windows, storage, some old cement pieces. You can hear my dog in the background, tools, the door, and a little glimpse of my cozy corner. I find that I like to sit while I like to work and sit and ponder what I've done. I find it's really helpful to set forth what I want to do next. So in this slide, what you see is a piece that I made when I was about 15 and a piece that I made as part of my thesis in college called The Gesture of the Human Form. The piece that I made when I was 15 was when I was studying dance. It's clay. I still love clay. The other piece is bronze. My almost entire career has been a fascination with gesture, the gesture of the human body. I also wanted to say that because I have a degree, I find it unimportant. I do know that many of my friends who do not have degrees find that it has left them with kind of a feeling of inferiority. But at my age, the fact that I studied art, I think is almost irrelevant, especially since my work is not at all cerebral. It's almost all intuitive. So this is a cement process. This is a piece I made in 2013, but the process remains the same. I make a form, either with expanded metal lath, as you see here, or with pipe or rebar. Then I cover it with colored cement or white cement and colored cement or whatever mixture that works out to be. I mix it by hand in small buckets, and then I start patting it on much the same as I would pat on clay. When it's all done, I adjust the color, and then you'll see the finished piece, which I made in 2013 for the Art of the Pumpkin that was at the Blaze in Croton. This is my first New York City exhibition. You'll see a lot of clay figures and 3 cements. If you look at those figures, you will see that it's an ongoing series that I have been making, 20, maybe longer years. And those figures are now being realized in cement. The earlier cements were not at all like this. This is a different kind of cement. These figures were first at the Hammond Museum, then they were in a show in Vermont, and then I made a totally different presentation with 3 of the figures, which is Black Lives Matter, My American Family at Tilly Foster Farm this summer, actually this fall in Putnam Valley. The same pieces, the cements are there, but you'll see that I've also started making them in paper mache. I love paper mache because this figure is standing on its toes, it has arms, it has a head, and it has colors. I do work in series. These are my torsos, my clay torsos. All of these figures, these are actually just 2 different pieces, have writing on the other side. So the pieces which hang on a string spin, it's like a mobile, and they have words on them. The first piece in the tree was a paean to woman, to Earth Mother, Mother Goddess, and so on and so forth. The second piece, which was seen at Ceres Gallery, at Westchester Arts Workshop, in Peekskill, our open studio show, and at Hudson Valley MoCA. It's called Words of Rage, and the words are full of my rage when my husband of 37 years left me. It is going on to another show in Staten Island at Snug Harbor Museum or Art Center. I'm not sure entirely of the name. This is my studio interior, a better shot. You can see straight ahead the heat. I actually now have floor space, and I've got things set up a little bit more. It's really getting there. I can sit, I can work, and I did. I actually made all of my bells for the show, and guess what? I have a dog bed in it. I have a dog bed. So I think that's all you need to see of that. You can see my heat. This is a still of my cozy corner. One of my cement and fabric pieces that I made in 2010, I think, maybe later. A cement piece that I was starting to paper mache and some paper maches. All the pieces on the wall of paper mache are made over former clay pieces, where I covered them with saran wrap and then started building up the surface with paper mache, Elmer's glue, and ended with a UV varnish. Here is a piece also on Saunders Farm made in cement. And this fall, I covered it, or this summer actually, not fall, I covered it with paper mache and adjusted it. The legs are a little bit different. The shoulders are definitely different and the head is different. It's in the daylight area leading to my basement. And if you look in the background, you'll see some really old clay paintings that I made. When I started working with paper mache, I started making these collages these are out of magazine images. They are 12 by 14 on archival paper, but it's magazine images, Elmer's glue, and then the same varnish. Here's both another one as the result of the election. And I love the fact, if you look on just above, you'll see a picture of AOC, which I found in my alumni magazine. On the other side, you'll see the birthday present I made for my granddaughter, this is a slide, so she has it, yes. And it's all pictures of Luciana at various stages in her life and with some of her family. I have now done 3 of these. I'm about to embark on the 4th. I did one of my cousin Beverly, which I believe I showed in one of the PAA shows. I did one for my daughter for her birthday, and now Luciana. This is family. It's mostly magazine family, but you'll see many pictures of some of my grandchildren. You'll see stray cats, stray dogs. You'll also see both Nomi and my beloved Chopper. On the other side, you can see the paper mache with arms and hair. Now that was over a clay piece, but certainly I didn't have the arms and hair or the color in that piece. Carla Ray inaugurated several years ago the Arc of the Moral Universe and now the Arc of the Viral Universe. This is 2 pages from that. On the left side of the page, you see statistics. On the right side, you see a black dark winter ahead and my interpretation of it. And the other page is family pictures and the fact that we were not together for Hanukkah. It was devastating for me, but it was, I think, the right decision. More from the plague years. I am having such a good time with the paper mache. But you see those figures I'm always doing. And all these things were made in my new studio. And these are my bells that I make just for fun. And that is that.